What's up, everybody? Once again, my name is Matt, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. In the last episode, we woke up from the Chamber of Resurrection, got some starter gear, and finished up our very first shrine. In this episode, well, we're gonna meet the old man on top of that tower. Now, it's only a short distance away from us, but the climb would take a long time, so instead of going through all that and wasting that physical effort, what do you say we do what the old man said, and try out the quick travel with our Sheikah Slate? So yeah, we can highlight the Great Plateau Tower, and travel directly there. Even if it is like a short distance like that, normally quick traveling will be faster, so I highly recommend that you use it as often and as much as you possibly can. The only downside is that there is a little bit of a loading screen, but even then, it's not that long, and it still probably will save you time overall. Plus, guess what? Now we're exactly where we need to be. So, what do you say we talk to the old man once again? Well, you certainly took your time. Did you forget how to travel instantly? No, I remembered. Now then, I want you to join me up here so you could use this as a vantage point to search for shrines. Did you know about the scope on your Sheikah Slate? Look through it, and you can stick a pin anywhere you'd like to mark on the map. Ah, well, that sounds pretty handy. The pins in your map serve as reference points for your travels. Just stick a pin anywhere you're interested in. Alright, got it, dude. Go ahead and take a look if you feel inclined to do so. Well, don't mind if I do. So, let's zoom in using our slate here, and if we look up, ta-da, there's another shrine off in the distance. Now, there's still two more we have yet to find here on the Great Plateau. Thankfully, from up here, we can see both of them. So let's go around back real quick, and if we zoom in again, there's the next shrine, and the last one is right over there. Now, the two shrines that are like way far off in the distance on the mountains, I wouldn't recommend going there just yet. You can go there if you want to, like the game gives you the freedom to do so. However, I really wouldn't recommend doing so right now because we're not properly equipped to handle the environments where those shrines are located. And allow me to explain a little bit further. Take a look on the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Near a minimap to the left side, there are three icons, the first of which is a temperature gauge. Right now, the arrow is sort of right in the middle, meaning Link is not too hot or not too cold. If we go up the mountains, though, it's a lot colder and there's snow up there, so the meter will dip onto the left side, Link will start to freeze and take damage. Similarly, if we went up like a volcanic mountain, it would dip over to the right side, Link would start to get really hot and take some damage. So you're going to want to pay attention to that and make sure you're well equipped to handle the environments that you're going into. Below that is your loudness meter, meaning that I'm running right now, I'm being very noisy, but if I crouch, you'll notice that the meter is a lot more subdued, and enemies will have a harder time spotting me or hearing me coming. And below that, again, is just the weather that we're currently in, as well as the upcoming weather. All things you're gonna want to pay attention to. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's try and mess with these bokoblins before we go to the next shrine, shall we? There's a bunch inside that skull-shaped rock, right? So what I want to do is, oh, I think I got spotted. Yeah, so let's back up just a little bit here. But, what I want to do is try and cut the rope on that hanging lantern. If I do this right... Uh-oh. Oh, no! I think I might have already screwed this up, actually. Dang. Alright, let's see if this still works. It might not because it's swinging back and forth now. Yeah, I think I messed it up. Darn. That really stinks. So what's supposed to happen is, yeah, you shoot the rope, the flaming lantern falls down on some explosive barrels, obviously they light on fire, everything explodes, the bokoblins die, and you can easily take out the last one on the watchtower, and go inside that skull-shaped rock, and you'll find a chest. Since that didn't work, I guess we'll just, like, leave those guys be for now, because I'm really not equipped to take on, like, 5 enemies at once right now, so I'm not gonna push my limits. We'll just go to the next shrine, and maybe we'll, mess with those guys some other time. But yeah, it is totally worth doing right now if, you know, you're not like me and you're actually good at aiming with a bow and arrow, and, you can actually shoot it down in your first try. By the way, that is something I would highly recommend practicing. Very early on, in fact, because the bow is probably one of the most useful items in this entire game. You will be using it for just about everything, especially when dealing with some of these robots here. Also, I'm taking this path purposely because, yeah, not every single robot corpse that we're going to encounter is actually broken. Some of them are still very much active, so be careful making your way to this shrine. Anyways, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce the names of these shrines because they're all kind of weird, and I guarantee you I will mess up like 90% of them. But here we are, our second shrine already. I'm excited, man, because these first couple of shrines, they're pretty easy, but right now each of these shrines will actually give us a new rune, and it basically means we're getting a new toy to play with both in upcoming shrines and the world map. And this one, have to admit, probably one of the more useful ones. Like, might be my personal favorite, even though the rune that we get is sort of common in terms of, you know, typical Zelda items. You'll see what I mean once we pick it up. To you who sets foot in this shrine, I am Job by whatever. In the name of the goddess Hylia, I offer this trial. Yeah, like I said, guys. Can't pronounce the names. Anyways, this is the bomb trial, so let's activate this pedestal and get, well, as you might have guessed, the bomb rune. Sheikah Slate authenticated, distilling rune. And ta-da! We get not one, but two remote bomb runes. So we get a normal circular bomb and also a square bomb. Both of these bomb types will come in handy. And what's nice is they have separate cooldowns, so you can't actually use both of them at the same time. Now, the reason why they give you two is because obviously this game has sort of realistic physics, meaning that yes, if you throw a round bomb or place it on a slope, it will roll down, whereas if you use a square bomb, it's not going to move around nearly as much. So I tend to use the square bomb more than the round bomb myself, but both of them are equally as useful. Also, yeah, watch out because their explosion radius is pretty large. You do not want to be caught in that. Alright, so inside this hidden chest, we got ourselves a Traveler's Claymore. It's a type of sword. It's actually a two-handed sword, so meaning that if we equip this, we wouldn't be able to use a shield if we had one. I kind of like this a little bit more than the woodcutter's axe, so I think I'll use this for now. Let's blow this up and continue our way through this shrine. Yeah, I know it seems weird that bombs would be one of like my favorite items, but I think this game is designed very well around using these runes, so everything that you can do with them sort of makes sense, and there's a lot of various different uses. And this game is just geniusly designed, like the way that it organically teaches you how to do things. Like for instance, this puzzle right here, we can see these platforms moving back and forth, and there's a ball. Now we really can't even interact with that ball, but we see it moving back and forth, so one could summarize that, yeah, these things could push Link over to the other side where we can reach this chest and get ourselves another piece of amber. We could also summarize that these platforms could be used to launch other things, like perhaps our remote bombs. So, yeah, sure enough, if we check out this right side, there's a bunch of cracked stone over there, and well, the simple solution would be to place a remote bomb right there and detonate it at just the right time to break those blocks. That way we can check out what's going on this side. There's a lot of little things like that, and it really makes you appreciate the game design in Breath of the Wild because it respects your intelligence as a player. It really does require you to think and figure things out on your own. The game will give you some obtuse hints along the way, but if you're not paying attention, you can miss them. So, yeah, there's no hand-holding here. You really need to know what you're doing in order to get by, and I love that a lot about this game. I really do. Anyways, just like that, we are done with the second trial. Your resourcefulness in overcoming this trial speaks to the promise of a hero. In the name of the goddess Hylia, I bestow upon you this spirit orb. Alright, 2 orbs down, 2 more to get. May the goddess smile upon you. So yeah, we're already halfway done with all the shrines here on the Great Plateau. Not too bad at all. But like I said, we're really not equipped in our current state to make our way to the other 2 shrines. There's actually another item that we need to pick up, and thankfully that old man, well, he is going to be the one to give it to us. And this is sort of where those peppers come into play. And oh no, yeah, it's nighttime now. So we got to be a little bit careful because there will be like stall children and stall foes that appear during the night. I really don't want to mess with these guys right now though, so we're just going to hop the fence, so to speak, and get on out of here. So now that we got bombs, I actually do want to make my way back to the Temple of Time because there's something that I want to do over there. And this does play into getting the item that we need to tackle the next 2 shrines. So, yeah, don't worry. I'm still going towards that goal. I'm trying not to waste any time if I can avoid it. But I do have to say, the Great Plateau is a testament to how well they designed this game. For an opening, like, quote-unquote tutorial area, it does a fantastic job of teaching the player everything they need to know to survive in Breath of the Wild. Like, every single shrine that we go in here gives us a new rune, so we're in, like, a relatively safe environment to try out all of our basic abilities that we'll be using throughout the game. The enemies here, they're not too dangerous unless you accidentally activate one of those decaying robots, in which case, good luck because those will kill you if they manage to land a hit. And, we're learning the basic, like, fundamentals of the game, like different types of weather, how to sneak around past enemies, how to use all our runes, you know, how to get other equipment to survive in different environments and stuff like that. And we're learning this all organically as we're sort of working towards our goal to get off of the Great Plateau. It really does speak wonders of this game because even though this is a tutorial area, so to speak, you're still having fun. And even later on in the game, you will be coming back to the Great Plateau occasionally, and there will still be things to do. Like, the design is just genius, man, and it's like that throughout the entire game. Like, I cannot stress that enough. Everything is so well thought out and purposefully crafted that, honestly, it makes Breath of the Wild one of the best open world games on a console. Like, I have to say it. Now, it's not perfect. There are some things I dislike about the game, but I'll talk more about those later. Anyways, the reason I came here is because, with bombs, well, we can sort of do some fishing, so to speak. Like, if you look carefully in this pond here, you might be able to spot a Hylian bass. And, well, we kind of need one for that recipe, so hopefully, I think we actually got him. Yeah, if you place a bomb near one of the fish as they're swimming around, you can blow it up and get yourself some Hyrule bass, not Hylian bass, my bad. While we're here, though, might as well try and catch a couple more if we can, just because, well, they are going to be useful for cooking, and you're always going to want to have a lot of food on hand. Trust me on that. So I'm trying to sort of set myself up that way. By the time we do finish up, like, the next 2 shrines, we'll have enough food and supplies to go out and explore Hyrule without having to worry about, like, dying or anything like that. I think we got one with that. Yeah, there we go. Come here, buddy. Okay, I'll take the one fish and get out of here. We still need to do a little bit of hunting because we need raw meat to finish up this recipe anyways. But for now, we're good with the fish that we got. It's always a good idea to go hunting just while you're out exploring. So make sure you always have, like, a long-range weapon or some bow and arrows on stack. That way you can hunt any animals that you see as you're exploring, or just stop at, like, any pond that you manage to walk by and catch a couple of fish, because having food is never a bad thing in this game. And as far as I know, there is no limit to that part of your inventory, or if there is, it's really, really high, because no matter what I did in my first playthrough, I never managed to max out, like, that part of my inventory. Now, there are parts of your inventory that do have limited space, like, for instance, weapons like swords and stuff like that, or bows, and even shields, all have a limited number of space that you can store in your inventory. You can actually increase that storage, but, there is a cost involved, and I'll talk more about that later on. So just know that, yeah, you will be swapping out weapons, shields, and bows quite frequently in this game. So just keep that in mind, I guess. Anyways, there's something sparkly on this rock, so let's check it out. It's a new type of mushroom. So this is the rush shroom. I don't know why, for whatever reason I have a hard time saying it. It's kind of like a tongue twister for me. But if you cook that up with a couple of other ingredients, it'll actually increase your movement speed, which might be kind of helpful. Anyways, this is a stamella shroom. These, again, if you cook them up with other ingredients, will actually restore your stamina meter. So these are actually really, really useful. So for instance, let's say you're climbing a cliffside and your stamina meter is just about to run out. Well, if you cooked something up that was pretty good, you can actually eat it and restore your stamina meter right on the spot. That way you can continue climbing. Pretty useful. Alright, so this is a torch. Believe it or not, torches are amazing, so I try to always keep one on hand. This is a pot lid. You might not think it's useful, but yep, you can actually use it as a shield, so it's better than nothing. We're gonna take it. And because Link is a klepto, we might as well continue stealing things. So, let's hop inside the old man's hut, steal some of these spicy peppers. Yeah, those are the ones the game gives you for free. And aw, man, I need to clear out my inventory already. See, like I said, guys, you'll be doing this a lot. I'll try my best to manage the inventory so I don't have to do that a whole lot on screen. Anyways, I'll take your axe and some more of your other goodies. And, well, we can read his diary, so let's check it out. The old man's diary. Let's give it a good old read. On this desolate plateau, the only pleasure that brings me comfort is cooking. And today I outdid myself. Truly, I created the perfect dish. I call it spicy meat and seafood fry. This recipe not only restores health, but it also keeps me warm, even when traveling in the snowy mountains. With this dish on my side, I no longer have the need of that itchy, warm doublet. Let's keep reading. I do not know how I allowed this to happen, but it seems I forgot to write down a very important recipe. I know it contained raw meat and a spicy pepper, however, I simply cannot remember what else I used. My age is catching up to me. Sadly, on this lonely plateau, I have only my own knowledge and memory to rely on. Still, if I did find someone who knew the missing ingredient, I would happily reward them with my warm doublet. However, it seems unlikely that such a miraculous wish will ever be fulfilled. And that is the end of his entry. So, from that, we can sort of deduce that the ingredients for his recipe are raw meat, a spicy pepper, and some form of seafood, i.e. Hyrule bass, because obviously it was spicy pepper steak and seafood, or whatever he called it. So, yeah, if you pay attention and read everything, you should be able to figure out exactly what is inside that recipe. Now that we know that, though, we can actually cook it, except we're still missing raw meat. So before we go and grab that, there's kind of a secret that I would like to pick up. By the way, you can grab that leaf right there. That is a Korok leaf, I believe. We really don't have a use for that right now, so I'm just going to leave it be. Alright, we got some enemies coming up, so let's use the Traveler's Claymore. And it should make quick work of these guys. Not even sure why I was sneaking there, because no matter what, they were going to notice me, but whatever. Alright, you know what, let's back up a little bit, because yeah, this guy likes to swing around his big giant stick, and I do not want to get hit with that. If you do get hit with like a weapon like that, it'll actually knock Link over, and he does take some time to get back up, so it's best to just avoid those attacks in general. So you might be wondering why I came all the way out here. Well, there's some cracked boulders, and like typical Zelda fashion, blow those up, you're pretty much guaranteed to find a secret, so let's pop open this chest and get ourselves some fire arrows. Not bad at all. Now, we actually want normal arrows for hunting because while we can use fire arrows, and ice arrows for that matter, it actually cooks the food instantly when you use those. So, for instance, if I shot like an animal with an ice arrow, it'll make something called chilled meat or something like that. And what that does is it will actually increase Link's heat resistance. So if he's in a hotter environment, he can eat that, and for a little while, he'll be able to bear the heat. If I shoot something with a fire arrow, it will actually cook the meat, which is useful in a pinch, but it's far better to just like properly cook a meal with a cooking pot rather than just shooting it with a fire arrow. So I tend to like to use normal arrows for hunting just for that reason alone. Alright, so there's a couple of bokoblins over here in this camp. This one we should be able to take out no problem. There's only a couple of guys here. Only 2 left. Yeah, not going to be that big of a deal for us. And afterwards, we should get a pretty nice reward. Plus, there is sort of a secret nearby that we can pick up as well. And hey, a Boko shield. Nice. That's a little bit better than the pot lid that we were using before. So, might as well use that for now. Alright, that chest is going to unlock. And now, we can see what's inside. There's a lot of good things in this area. So, I recommend coming here. And yes, a normal arrow. Perfect. That is exactly what we need. You know what? Real quick. Let me swap over to the woodcutter's axe. This is something you will be seeing me do a lot because anytime you hit an object, whether it be an enemy, the ground, or rocks, stuff like that, it will lower the durability of that item. So it's always a good idea to have some trash items on hand just for that particular reason. And generally speaking, a large blunt object is not a bad thing to carry around with you. Ooh, a throwing spear. Nice, I will gladly take that. Alright, let's see, what else can we gather from this area? Might as well steal the meat, because, the bokoblins, they're not going to need it anymore now that they're dead. And there is a secret over here that we can grab, so, let's use our fire arrows real quick. Just burn down all that wood, and, hang on, is this a new bow? It is a new bow, it's a boko bow, oh, it's not even that good. Oh well, not a big deal. You know, I just realized I kind of wasted a fire arrow there because I have this torch and I could have just easily used this. Let's actually bring this with us because there is sort of a beehive up there. You can shoot that down and collect it and use it in food, but I really don't want to risk getting stung by the bees. So I'm just here to open up this chest, don't mind me, grab my bomb arrows and get the heck out of here. Bomb arrows are really valuable. Like, they're super expensive if you want to buy them, and they do a ton of damage. So, don't waste those 5 because they're free and you probably won't be able to buy any anytime soon. At least not until we get to, like, another town. Like, maybe the second town in the game, I think, has them. But whatever. Alright, now that we got everything we need, we can do a little bit of hunting. So, I think the best place to do that is probably in the northern section of the Great Plateau because there's like this whole wooded area and animals tend to hang around there, so should be a pretty good hunting spot. I know I haven't really showed off cooking yet, but cooking is a huge part of the game, as I've sort of stated before. It's actually super easy, so it might seem intimidating, but trust me, it's pretty easy to get the hang of. Like, if you just think a recipe will work, chances are it will work. And in all my time of playing, I've never actually had a recipe fail on me. So if someone like me, who pretty much knows no cooking skills in real life, can figure out how to cook in this video game, I think you guys can too. Let me actually use this sword instead of my torch because I definitely don't want to break that. Although unfortunately that allowed these guys to sort of get their weapons because I wasn't properly prepared, but whatever. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. I tend to kind of forget that a lot, so if I can give you guys any advice, always make sure you know what you have equipped at any time. You don't want to enter a dangerous situation like this and have, like, a torch equipped or no shield or something like that. So try and keep that in mind, that anytime you do swip out, like, your primary weapon with something not so useful like a torch or a korok leaf, make sure you swap it back to something useful before you do anything crazy. Alright, so, there we go, perfect, that's what I like to see. There's I believe that's a boar over off in the distance there, so we're gonna try and sneak up on it. Real quick, let's equip our normal arrows, just so we don't accidentally burn it alive and cook its meat before we actually want to use it. Whenever you're hunting, yeah, you're gonna want to make sure you're quiet and sneaky. Don't get too close to these animals because they will run away from you. And, I want to make sure I can take this guy out with just 1 arrow if possible. If you don't use a strong enough bow, sometimes they will take more than 1 arrow. So, Yeah, if it takes more than one arrow, they will run away from you, and it becomes incredibly harder to actually kill them. So I recommend using a decently powerful bow like the one that you can find on top of the Temple of Time. And there we go. Now we got some raw meat. And that's pretty much the last ingredient we need for that recipe, but, I mean, we're here, so might as well do a little more hunting. And I see a boar right down there that would be perfect for my collection. Yeah, nice. 2 for 2. Pretty happy about that. Believe it or not, it's actually really easy to aim in this game because even if you're using the Joy-Cons or the Pro Controller like I am, the gyroscope still works. Like, there is a gyroscope in the Pro Controller, so you can just, like, move the controller up and down to aim. And I know I've, like, dissed motion controls in the past, and I normally don't like them, but I am kind of a proponent for gyro aiming. It works really well. Anyways, here's some flint, and yeah, it's right next to a sort of burnt-looking pile of wood, so as you guys can probably imagine, if you place flint down next to some wood and strike it with a blunt metal object like our sword or the woodcutter axe, it'll actually spark, light the wood on fire, and, you know, then you can sort of stand by it to keep yourself warm if you want to, and that is something you might want to keep in mind for an area much, much later into the game. Like, if you light a torch on fire and carry it with you, it will keep Link warm. It's not the best way to go about it, but in a pinch, it can come in handy. Alright, so we saw the old man back there, back at, like, his, fire pit, you know, where he was at the beginning of the game. He can actually be in a couple of different areas, like, sometimes he'll be asleep in his hut, other times he will be hunting, he can be back there sitting down, he could also be, like, cutting trees near his hut, so he can be in a wide variety of different areas doing a whole bunch of different things, just sort of showing that, even if you're not interacting with them, the game is still very much alive, and the NPCs are all sort of doing their own thing. That might be a problem for us, though, because in order to get the warm doublet from the old man, he sort of actually needs to be at his house, and if he's not here, we can't really give it to him, so yeah, that might be an issue. Sometimes he will just, like, randomly sort of be in 2 places at once, like we just saw him back there. He could also be, like, cutting down trees at the same time, so you never know. Anyways, the recipe is 1 raw meat, 1 Hyrule bass, and 1 spicy pepper. So, let's just go and cook that up real quick. And just like that, cooking is so simple. We did it. We got the spicy meat and seafood fry, and that is exactly what the old man wanted. So now that we got that, we can trade it for the warm doublet. Except we kind of need to wait for the old man to come back here, so I think we can sleep in his bed. At least I thought we could. Maybe we can't do that until later on. Alright, so I guess we can't pass time that way, and oh, never mind, he's actually over here chopping wood. Okay, that sort of works out. So, see, yeah, we just saw him by the fireplace near the Shrine of Resurrection. Ooh, a lizard. I actually didn't really mean to get that, but, glad I did. And now he's over here chopping wood. How'd he get over here so quickly? I don't know. Oh, fancy that. So we meet again. What are you doing, buddy? I thought this tree here might make for some good firewood. However, getting a tree to fall exactly where you want it to is quite an art. The trick is to turn your hips so that they face where you want the tree to land. So I see you found my axe. Why not help me out and give it a few swings? I'm working up quite a sweat here, but these bones could use a break. Alright, we can help the old guy out, especially since, you know, we kinda did steal his axe. So, let's just give this tree a couple of whacks real quick. Timber! Oh my gosh, I almost actually made it fall on the old man! I'm sorry, dude, I didn't mean it! Are you okay? Oh, I see you did my work for me. Wonderful. Go ahead and take some of that wood for yourself. Don't be shy now. I mean, I don't really need it. What is it? Alright, what are you doing now? I'm heading home. I can't offer you much other than a solid roof and good company, but you're free to join me. If you need to take a rest, go ahead and use my bed. Okay, now we can probably use his bed. Unlike a fireside nap, sleeping in a proper bed should really rejuvenate you. Neato burrito, old man. Alright, so he's gonna head back home. Let's finish chopping down this tree. We'll grab some wood. Wood, not exactly the most useful thing in the world. I think I maybe used it 4 times in my first playthrough. it's really only useful for starting a fire in a pinch or lighting something else on fire in particular, because you can combine it with flint and light, leaves on fire or crates and stuff like that. Otherwise, not really sure what it's good for. So now the old man is heading home. Once he gets there, we should be able to talk to him and show him the food that we made. But he is taking quite a while. And oh, by the way, yeah, I know there was a pitchfork back there that I could have picked up. I just don't want it. It's kind of funny that, like, I need to wait for this guy to get back here, because this never happened in my first playthrough. So it's neat that, even though I am playing through the game again, there's still, like, new things that I didn't see before that I get to experience. So that's pretty cool, man. And I love when games do that. Alright, now I think we're good to go. Oh-ho! There are a few things as delightful as a roaring fire. This body of mine isn't what it used to be. Recovering from a bout of hard work takes a while. If you're hungry, I have an empty pot you can use to cook yourself a meal. Well, check it out. I cooked something already. So take a look at this. Wait, is that? That looks just like my signature perfect dish. Spicy meat and seafood fry. But how did you... Well, I suppose that is not important. Can I trouble you to share the recipe? Sure thing, dude. Ah, of course. Hyrule Bass. How could I have forgotten? Well done. Now please allow me to reward your culinary efforts with this warm doublet. And just like that, we got a new piece of clothing. This will allow us to survive the cold. With that, you'll be able to resist the bite of colder environments. As for me, I know a great spicy meat and seafood fry recipe, so I can do without the warm doublet. Fantastic! So now that we got that, we can finally go to those 2 remaining shrines. But I think this is actually a good place to end off this video. So if you guys enjoyed this part, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. But once again, guys, my name is Matt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.